My expectation is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is visionary enough to know that, look, we need to get things running. The sense of emergency and urgency that Nigeria needs right now to get us back into the Committee of Nations and, in the right path is right now already. So that's what I expect to see.
There's also something about uniting Nigerians and ensuring that we all work together, because you can see, going by how the election played out, everybody had who they were supporting, and there was a bit of disunity in terms of tribal bigotry and how things played out online and offline. So he also has that to contend with in terms of ensuring that everyone is united, because that's the only way Nigeria can move forward. Exactly. If we are on different ends and different beliefs, it would be difficult to carry everyone along, because some would think you're doing the right thing, the other half would think you're doing the wrong thing, and there's this loggerhead back and forth, which is not necessary right now, seeing that we are not where we want to be. So much work, and everybody has got what they're expecting, what they think is good enough for Nigeria, but we deserve the very best. And
we deserve the best.
He's constantly reiterated the fact that he's going to ensure that Nigeria becomes better than it is right now. But the outgone president, Muhammadu Buhari, stated that he's going to continue from where he left off. Okay. Not sure how you take that, but
I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of people feel offended when you say that. So let's just hope that, where President Muhammadu Buhari left things, there will be an upward improvement.
Yes.
There will be, an improvement from there. That's what, not to continue. Because when you talk about continuity, it's like you're going to continue on the same trajectory. And like I said, we've gone so low. Right now, we need to see Nigeria coming up afloat in every aspect of our life. So let's just hope that maybe it's not well communicated as it ought to be. What we are hoping is that we're going to see Bola Ahmed Tinubu take the baton and go upwards, change
a different
direction, and in the positive, not necessarily, because change could be in either positive or negative. So the changes we want to see are, projected towards the positive. And as you talked about earlier on, in terms of unity, right now, I think we all need to realize that we want the same things. As much as there are grievances, people are in court right now. So let the courts carry on with what they are mandated to do. People should stop preempting the process. I think right now, in the meantime, before the pronouncement of the court, all Nigerians can do right now is to give their undiluted support, at least in the meantime, pending what the courts say. Support this man and his team and whoever is going to come up on board with, to see that, he gives to us what is constitutionally ours as Nigerians. The welfare of Nigerians right now is in their need of a revamping and a rejigging, security and a whole lot. So in the meantime, let's realize that what we all want is the same thing. Yes. We all want a better Nigeria. We cannot afford to right now, have the dichotomy of, hey, you're from the north, you're the south, you're Christian, you're Muslims, and all of that. Because as much as there's a place of leadership, there's also the place of followership. A leadership cannot be so effective if you do not have, an effective followership. So right now, can we just sheath our swords? Can we sheath our differences and just ensure that we press the demand for good governance? The politicking should be over, and the governance should be what we are looking forward to seeing. I think President Muhammadu Buhari made the difference, when he started with the 95 or 97. But right now, I'm so glad that the new president is projecting towards unity and is speaking. That's what people need to hear.
Well, a lot of people are looking at his body language right now. That's what they'll be looking at to decide how things play out. But let's bring in Salisu Abdullahi, who is our resource person. He's a lawyer as well as editor at Page 36. Let's get to hear his point of view, saying that we have a new president. There's so much expected of him. There's a handful that the Nigerians want him to do. And the earlier, the better, as opposed to wasting time and ensuring that everyone is pleased at certain points, going by whatever appointments are giving, whatever decisions are being made now that he is the president of Nigeria. Good afternoon to you. Welcome, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Toto.
So let's get your initial thoughts. A new president. We've seen like a large migration of residents into Abuja for the inauguration, and
Crazy.
we have grown in leaps and bounds, if it's safe to say. Is this how we're going to see it play out? Because while he was governor of Lagos State, we saw how that happened as well. Young people who were looking for better opportunities also moved to Lagos, and we saw growth in the numbers, seeing that even what was available in terms of amenities was not enough for the number of people who are still in Lagos right now. Would we see that same growth in the FCT, saying that he's going to be domiciled here?
Like you said, I like everything she said earlier, So I'm still trying to be positive as well, even if we have experienced a lot of chaos in the FCT since yesterday in terms of the movement. So let's just assume that, okay, for celebratory purposes, a lot of people had to come through to celebrate with their leader, so to say. But moving forward, we hope for the same sanity that we experience here, this attachment of Togri to his name, it's not something we should sleep on, because that's in existence. And I think many residents in Abuja are actually scared of that. Hopefully we do not have thugs in Abuja. We do not need thugs. We need positive things and not negative things. So I hope when it comes to that, he will be able to control that system to make sure that we do not have that in the federal capital city. And secondly, I don't want to see Abuja turn into a dirty place.
Exactly.
We talked about that earlier.
It's already dirty as it
we
is.
We have tried to, try to maintain it from the RFI time. It's not been as great as it was then, but we have actually tried. But I don't want us to turn this place to a dirty slum. That's very important. Then in terms of governance, it's good that we're celebrating, we're watching them at Eagle Square, fanfare, but there's work to be done, just like you said. I hope he doesn't sleep on that. I hope he doesn't sleep on the mood of the nation. When you look at the Twitter trends today, we can call it political, call it whatever. If the nation was happy, we're not going to have a hashtag as Black Monday trending on the presidential inauguration day. That is not acceptable. I hope he doesn't sleep on that. I hope his handlers tell him the truth. One thing we suffered during the Buhari administration, most times the president was not aware. Things cannot be going on in the country and you are not aware of what's going on in your country. I hope he makes a very conscious effort to be aware of what is really going on. I hope he doesn't have yes men around him. We have not heard the speech. We don't know the direction he's going to. We don't know how he's going to employ or appoint his ministers or other heads of cabinet, I hope he doesn't go the usual norm of compensation.
Political compensation.
Even if you want to compensate, please get the best hand. We have a lot of work to do. Economy, security, education, health, name it. There's a lot of work to do. I hope he rolls his sleeves up immediately and get to work. Left to me, I will be very impressed if I have the new president address the nation tomorrow, roll out his plan for the country, and we see everything going on immediately. He has to be very strategic. This is not time to play. You wanted to be president, Emilio Khan, is your turn, But this is a very different time, and you have to reflect that. And do not abandon the youths. There was a program that went on yesterday, and we posted a picture on my news platform, and somebody commented and said, just old people here, no young people. That's something that you should pay attention to. Don't sleep on it and say they're just troublemakers. Reflect the youth.
No, but he's constantly stated that this administration is going to be youth-oriented or youth-centered.
It's one thing for you to implement.
But before you go on with your thoughts, let's go on this quick break. Okay.
Let's talk about the biggest conversations made of trustworthy ideas.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
President.
Yeah, but ever since the onslaught of the Fourth Republic, this should be the fifth or thereabouts. Obasanjo, Adua,
Goodluck Jonathan,
Buhari, and this is the fifth
Yes.
president since the Fourth Republic came up on board. And you were giving us your own, expectation and analysis of the whole situation, or what was left and what the president is
Yes,
expected
so
to
like
do
I was
right
saying
now.
before I stopped, I was saying I hope he takes very intentional cognizance of the mood of the country. I
Yeah.
hope his strategy is different. I saw a report recently. I just saw a report right now. I tried to ignore it because that did not come from his mouth, but that came from one of his handlers that said that we should expect his cabinet in 60 days. That's not the way to go. So what have you been doing?
But that's the
all
timeline given.
Okay, that's the timeline.
Yes.
Yeah, but I hope he doesn't move with the timeline. I hope he actually
Based on the emergency on ground, right?
exactly. So you have had a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah.
Let's see it reflect in your actions.
Definitely.
Basically, let's see the people you appoint into your cabinet. The Minister of Education, who just left office, he made a statement recently. He said when Buhari gave him the portfolio, he
He
had
had
no
nothing.
idea of what education really is, or to run the Ministry of Education. We don't want to see that reflect anymore because we bore the consequences of that. We saw the ASU strikes, we saw the federal government and the Ministry of Education disagree for years, and who suffered? Nigerians suffered, the youth suffered. We don't want to see stuff like that anymore. So even if you have to compensate based on people that supported your campaign, please still look for the best hands. If you want to reward, even from if you want to, and this talk of inclusivity, want to see that reflect. And don't just come and tell us that, I appointed this person, just to show. Don't tell us. Let's see it just reflect. And I believe that Nigerians, based on these actions, will reflect the mood of the country, whether the people are going to be more angry or we're going to calm down and be more hopeful.
Yeah.
I don't want us to hope on nothing. Show us something. You called it renewed hope, but give me something to be hopeful for. Yeah, so going forward, I'm just expecting the best. Like you guys said, we're waiting for him to talk to us. Let's hear from the horse's mouth what his exact plans are.
I think it's going to be very strategic, the words he's going to mention today. And I think that's why everybody is anticipating to hear what he has said. Like I was making reference to what Buhari said, I remember the excitement. I'm for everybody, I'm for nobody. But then when he went to Chatham House, I think that was where he made that those statements about 97 to 5%.
That was too early.
That was too early. I just felt that was where the whole, crack just appeared on the wall. And then from then on, it just kept on widening the dichotomy, the what do you call it now?
The division?
Division, the division in the
Yeah.
country. So for me, aside all the very sectors that are suffering right now, the economy that is begging for a revamping, and I think unity is also very key. And I'm really expecting that the new president is going to cash in on that or key in on that, because you find out that, look, the words you say as a leader, John Maxwell said everything starts and, starts and finishes, or I think I'm paraphrasing it, on leadership. The words he's going to speak today is going to go a long way at setting the pace for his administration. Whether we're going to see Nigerians, even if you are grieved, just sheath your sword and say, you know what, this sounds like someone that maybe we'll pay attention and give the little support that we ought to give.
And I would like to say, I hope he doesn't get distracted by what we give him. And I'm saying we as generality based on what we see on the social media in terms of opposition.
So do you mean the energy he'll be getting from different quarters?
That does not distract him and make him react in a certain way. I hope he ignores that, he stays true to the cause, and I hope his intentions are very genuine. That's very important. The intention, the motive behind wanting to get into the office, I need it to reflect. We need to see it. And with time, trust Nigerians. If we're seeing good results, nobody is going to rebel against what is good.
Exactly.
It's because we are not sure, and because we are coming from the same party that disappointed us, because Nigerians trusted the Buhari administration at the beginning. We're very hopeful. That's why they threw away the former government and let's try something new. But you failed. And one thing he suffered is the failure of that government that he was part of politically. And I'm just praying that he ignores.
But some would say that the government achieved a couple of things in terms of infrastructure and completing some of the projects that they met when they came in 2015. So we can't say an overall failure, but I mean, everybody has got that definition as to what failure is and what success is for them. And
I like that you say that, so when you say, some would say, very subjective. And we are in a country where we have a majority of very poor people. So sometimes when you hand over something substandard to somebody that does not know that they deserve something greater than this, and you're actually entitled to it, you appreciate it. But thank God right now we have a crop of Nigerians that are exposed, that know what is good and know what is the best, and they are crying and fighting for the rest of the country that have not seen what they have seen in terms of what you deserve and what is of standard. So we have to be very conscious of that. We talk about the infrastructure, you talk about rail. You got these Chinese firms to come to Nigeria to give us trains. You can't give us substandard stuff and you want us to jump and be happy when we have trains in China that are running per second. We have to, in as much as we want to praise, we don't have to praise our leaders. You go into office to work. So do your work and do not wait for any tap on your shoulder and say, well done.
Trying to buttress what you said, I often say it, and people, laugh when I say it. But I think Nigerians, we've been in a very abusive relationship with our country for the longest of time. And so when you are in a place where you're oppressed and abused, anything, no matter how very ugly it is, looks like, hey, you know what, let's clap. Now, looking at Nigeria, alongside, let me just bring out a country in Africa, for example, Rwanda that came out of a genocide in the 90s, not too long. And, the record of progress that they've made. And Nigeria, who is supposed to be, the giant or the big brother in Africa, what we have on ground, in all sense of honesty, as Nigeria with all the potentials, with the resources, the sort of money we have and all of that, is this where we ought to be? That is it. You get crumbs of bread and you hear people saying, after all, they tried. Don't you have enough resources? Doesn't Nigeria possess the capacity to be much more than where we are today? So that's why when you hear people talk about the fact that we need to be grateful. Grateful what? You're not doing Nigerians a favor. You understand?
But besides the president being sworn in, we also see 28 governors being sworn in as well today. And let's talk about ensuring that power is not just at the center, wherein there's so much pressure at the center. We see a lot of movement to the center because we feel that's where all the opportunities are. And before you know it, Abuja is choked up with the number of persons who are moving here, believing that things are better here than in other states. How can the state governments, state governors also ensure that they are intentional in terms of collaboration and making their states better?
Like I always used to tell people as well, just like you said as well, we can put all the focus on the federal government. It's like it's division of labor, So when people cry federal government every time, I always argue to say that if the 36 state governors are working, they are doing what they ought to do. You're developing your states. You're generating revenue. You're fixing the health sectors locally in your state. You're taking care of the local government areas. we'll basically forget that we have the federal government. Nobody's going to be looking at Abuja and crying every time. So whatever you're saying right now is very important. I hope the new governors, especially the new ones coming in, and even the ones getting re-elected, that they actually take governance very seriously. It's not to run to Abuja every month to come and collect allocation and share and pocket and try to intimidate the local government and give them nothing to actually secure the people and actually take care of the people of the states. I'm hoping that the state governors understand their responsibility to their people. I'm hoping that the people start to hold their governors responsible.
Accountable.
Because we have this notion where even the people, maybe based on how we have run our democracy since 1999, people just expect the president to do everything. No, your governors are responsible for certain things. So we need to start enlightening the people to know that when it comes to this is not for the president. This is for your governor. This is for your local government chairman to take care of. So I'm hoping that Nigerians are getting wiser so we can hold our leaders at the different levels that they are responsible for the things that they ought to prepare and take care of for the people.
But how much do you think, the turning around of the system, and when I say that, I'm talking about, the issue of restructuring that has always come up, in terms of our conversation, through federalism being practiced. And I think that speaks to the issue of governors always running to the center to come, take their allocation, go and spend it without anyone holding them accountable. I'm feeling that the issue of restructuring more than ever before needs to be brought back on board to know that, look, these governors need to begin to take responsibility for their states and do, as they ought to, and also allow the local governments to begin to thrive, because that is where the grassroots democracy or the impact of democracy is felt the most. When allocation goes to the local government level, and the local government chairmen are allowed to function effectively so that dividends of democracy is, felt by the people at that level. So how much do you think this new administration can do? Do you think the new president is someone who is pro restructuring through federalism? And are we going to see some sort of independency in terms of carrying on with the states so that they take full responsibility and the accountability you talked about that is expected of them by the people, would be considered?
I didn't really hear Tinubu talk a lot about restructuring during this campaign. I didn't see it as a basis for his campaign, but I hope as he's getting into office right now, he pays attention to it. I hope he sees the need for it as well, because like you said, restructuring, we even stop wastage. One thing we've complained about, even the president of the African Development Bank talked about it recently at one of the PTC events. He talked about wastage in governance, because if the states are made to generate what they spend, I think they will sit up.
Yes.
Because when there's nowhere I can go and take money when I need money, I will figure out how to generate funds. And it's not just about even these even talking about the allocations of funds or even these local government autonomy. I think we need to find ways to implement them as well. Because it's one thing for you to pass the law and say, oh, the local governments, they have power right now. But we still have some of these powerful governors that came out and said, no, we're still withholding their funds. So how do we make sure that they really have the autonomy? So I'm hoping that those things will be put in place where these laws, so if, for example, we're trying to go into restructuring, even if it's not going to be automatic, I hope they set up a process that's going to be seamless, that we see it manifest greatly. I hope there's a kind of committee of implementation or even monitoring, that will be put in place to make sure that, what needs to be done are actually done. Because the way we are natured as Nigerians, if there is no cane, sort of, quote and unquote, we really don't do what we ought to do. Discipline needs to be put in place, to be honest. I think the president needs to come with a very firm hand. Do not make welcoming of governors to Abuja continue. Let them stay in their states. There's some governors that do not even stay in their states.
Exactly.
In Abuja here, governing your state. And they defend it. because the president doesn't say anything about it. That thing should be condemned, totally
But
condemned.
I'm wondering how much, of that would actually be visible during this administration, because if Buhari was prided as a man who in the 80s, he stands on indiscipline. Remember the famous war against indiscipline that was attributed to his administration back then. I mean, if he couldn't have a grip on things in terms of
and
discipline.
As a former military general.
Exactly.
as well.
How much do you expect? We were talking earlier on about the thuggery and all the Agbero thing, and a lot of people that are afraid that it might just, spill into Abuja because the president is now the president, I mean, so how do you think that is going to pan out?
Let me take Tinubu for his word. He said he's coming into work. He said he's coming to govern. They even made a statement that they do not need the country's money, which is good, but I hope they were not just saying, because they actually have money. And whether we like it or not, action still speaks louder than words. We still have to watch, we still have to keep our eyes on, and we still have to hope for the best in terms of how he governs, because we really cannot speak for him at this point in time. Even if he comes and gives like the best speech right now or says like the best things, we still have to watch and see what you do. Your actions are the most important thing. And this thing about the cabal, hopefully we have a cabal-free federal government, because I don't know who is going to be a cabal to Tinubu, though, So I just pray that he has the best advisors. That's very important. Your team of advisors, your handlers, they must be honest. They must care about Nigeria.
They must.
Because if they don't care about Nigeria, they're just going to do things that benefit their own pocket and to make and they must care about him as well. Because if you love somebody, that's what we call tough love. So you don't just come to me and lie to me, because if you're lying to me, you don't love me, you hate me. Because if you're not telling me the truth that will make me look good or perform well in front of the people.
All right, so I think the president's ready to give his speech right now. He just mounted the podium. We'll go on to the Eagle Square at this time and take a listen.
Well, the baton has changed. The respected, highly commendable president and former president of Nigeria departed for his home base. My regards to him. All the excellencies, the head of state, presidents, and leaders of various countries here present. Former head of state, a great man, committed and highly honest to the development of this country, General Yakub Gowon. My dear wife, the new First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. Your Excellency, Vice President Kasim Shettima and his wife, Nana Shettima. Senate President, distinguished Senators Ahmed Lawan, House of Representatives Speaker, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila and his wife, Salamatu. The Chief Justice of the Federation, Olukayode Ariwola, Your Excellencies, Governors, here present, the Chairman of our party, APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, Former APC interim chairman Chief B.C. Akonde and my brother and uncle Chief Segun Osoba. Distinguished senators and honorable members of the House of Representatives, honorable ministers and members of the just dissolved National Executive, members of diplomatic corps, the royal fathers, men of the armed forces, I salute you for your sacrifices and the supreme sacrifices you've made for this country, for the men and women. We thank you. And we thank you the way today is going well. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, I stand before you honored to assume the sacred mandate you have given me. My love for this nation is abiding. My confidence in its people unwavering, and my faith in God Almighty is absolute. I know that His hand shall provide the needed moral strength and clarity of purpose in those instances when even it seems to have reached the limit of human capacity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this day is bold and majestic, yet bright and full of spirit, as is our precious nation. As a nation, we have long ago decided to march beyond the dimness of night into open day of renewed national hope. The question is, and we must now ask ourselves, is whether to remain faithful to the work inherent in the building of a better society, or retreat into the shadows of our unmet potential. For me, there is but no one answer. We are too great a nation and too grounded as a people to rob ourselves of our finest destiny. The nation's journey has been shaped by the prayers of our founding fathers and other millions, and the collective sacrifices of us all. We have endured the hardship that will have made other societies crumble. We have showed that the heavy burden to arrive at this sublime moment where the prospect of a better future merges with our improved capacity to create that future. To the surprise of many, but not to ourselves, we have more firmly established this land as a democracy in both word and deed. The peaceful transition from one government to another now is our political tradition. This handover symbolizes our trust in God, our enduring faith in representative governance, and our belief in our ability to reshape this nation into its society it was always meant to be. My brothers and sisters, permit me to say a few words to my predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. President, former. You have been an honest, patriotic leader who has done his best for the nation you love. On a more personal note, you are a worthy partner and a friend. And may history be kind to you. For many years, Nigeria's critics have trafficked that the rumor that our nation will break up, even perish. They have even redesigned the maps. Yet we are here. We have stumbled at times, but resilience and diversity have kept us going, and we will keep going. Our burden may make us bend at times, but it shall never break us. Instead, we stand forth as Africa's most populous nation and as the best hope and strongest champion of the black race. As a citizen, we declare as one unified people, devoted to one unified nation, national cause, that as long as this world exists, Nigeria shall exist. Take me back.
We must not play politics, security.
Let's talk about the biggest conversations.
Made of trustworthy ideas.
Passionately connected
Connected to everyone.
This is Nigeria Info.
95.1 Abuja.
That must be done. If you are young or old, you will remember that. Today, faith and destiny join together to place the touch of human progress in our very hands. We dare not let it slip. We lift high this touch so that it might shine on every household and in every heart that calls itself Nigeria. We hold the beam aloft because it lights our path with compassion, brotherhood, and peace. May this great light never extinguish. Say amen. Our administration will govern you only on your behalf, but never rule over you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. We shall reach out to all, but never put down a single person for holding views contrary to our own. We are here to further mend and heal this nation, not tear and injure it. In this way, may I offer a few comments regarding the election that brought us here today to this junction. Yes, it was a hard-fought contest and was also fairly won. Since the advent of the Fourth Republic, Nigeria has not had an election of a better quality. I say so. The outcome reflected the will of the people. However, my victory does not render me any more Nigerian than my opponent, nor does this render them any less patriotic. They shall forever be my fellow compatriots, and I will treat them as such. They represent important constituencies and concerns that wisdom dare not ignore. Some have taken their concerns to court, seeking legal redress. That is their right, and I fully defend that exercise of this right. This is the essence of the rule of law. Over decades ago, our founding fathers bravely gave us this country to place Nigeria on the map of an independent nation. We must never allow the labor of those who came before us to wither in vain, but to blossom and bring forth a better reality. Let us take the next great step. The journey they began and believed in. Today, let us commit ourselves to placing Nigeria in our hearts as the indispensable home for each and every one of us, regardless of creed, ethnicity, or place of birth. To my supporters, I thank you. To who did vote for me, I thank you as well. I extend my hand across the political divide. I ask you to grasp the national affinity and brotherhood. For me, political coloration has faded away. All I see here are Nigerians. All of you. May we uphold this fitting, an excellent notion as a new Nigeria idea. My fellow citizens, Nigeria ideal, which I speak of, is more than just an improvement in economic and statistics. These things are important, but they can never convey the fullness of our story. Our mission is to improve our ways of life in a manner that nurtures our humanity, encourages compassion towards one another, and duly reward our collective effort to social ills that seek to divide us. Our Constitution gave us a nation on paper. We must work hard at bringing these noble documents to life by strengthening the bonds of economic collaboration, social cohesion, and cultural understanding. Let us develop a shared sense of fairness and equality. South must not only seek good for itself, but must understand that its interests are served when goods come to the north. North must not see the south likewise. Whether from the winding creeks of Niger Delta, the fastness of northern Savannah, the boardroom of Lagos, the building, bustling capital of Abuja, as busy market of Onitsha. You are all my people. As your president, I I shall serve you with prejudice towards none, but compassion and amity towards all. In the coming days and weeks, my team will publicly detail the key aspects of our economic program. Today, permit me to outline in broad terms a few initiatives that divide our concept of progressive good governance and furtherance of the Nigerian ideal. The principles that will guide our administration are very simple. Nigeria will be impartially governed according to the rule of law, the Constitution. We shall defend the nation from terror and all form of criminality that threaten the peace and stability of our country. We shall remodel our economy to bring our growth and develop the GDP much better, achieve the GDP much better than we have today. I assure you. Do that through job creation, food security, and an end to extreme poverty. In our administration, women and youth will feature prominently. Our government will continue to take proactive steps, such as championing a credit culture, to discourage corruption while strengthening the effectiveness and efficiency of the various anti-corruption agencies. It has to be a continued work in progress. Security shall be top priority of our administration, because neither prosperity nor justice can prevail amid insecurity and violence. To effectively tackle this, we shall reform both our security doctrine and its architecture. We shall invest more in our security personnel, and it means more than an increase in number. We shall provide better training, equipment, pay, and firepower.
Why people just come?
On the economy, we target a GDP not less than 6% growth. We aim to accomplish all of this by taking the following steps. Budgetary reform, stimulating the economy without engendering inflation. industrial policy to utilize the full range of domestic manufacturing and lessen import dependency. The electricity will become more accessible and affordable to businesses and homes alike. Power generation should nearly double, and transmission and distribution network must improve significantly. We will encourage various state governments to continue to participate in this effort, power generation and distribution of their own. I have a message for our investors, local and foreign. Our government shall review all the complaints about multiple taxation. And review various anti-investment inhibitions. We shall ensure that investors and foreign businesses repatriate their hard-earned dividend and profits owed. My administration must create meaningful opportunities for our youth. We shall honor our campaign commitment of 1 million jobs and the digital economy. Our government also shall work with the National Assembly to fashion an omnibus job and prosperity bill. This will give our administration the policy space to embark on labor-intensive infrastructural development, improvement, encourage light industry, provide improved social services for the poor, elderly, and vulnerable. On agriculture, rural incomes shall be secured by Commodity Exchange Board, guaranteeing minimum prices for certain crops. Animal products, a nationwide program for the storage and facilities to reduce spoilage and waste. All of that will be undertaken. Agricultural hubs will be created throughout the nation to increase production and engage in credit, promote credit, engage in value-added processing. The livestock will introduce the best modern practices and steps taken to minimize the perennial conflicts. Through this, food will be made more abundant, yet less costly. Farmers shall earn more while the average Nigerians pay less. On infrastructure, we shall continue the efforts of the Buhari's administration on infrastructure, development of Nigeria, and you know how many railroad and water infrastructure are required. On fuel subsidy, unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assumed office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. So fuel subsidy is gone. Subsidy can no longer justify its ever increasing cost and the wake of dry resources. We shall instead rechannel whatever so-called to fund into better investment in public infrastructure, education, healthcare, and jobs that will materially improve the lives of our people. Monetary policy. Though house cleaning, thorough house cleaning is necessary, the central bank must work towards a unified exchange rate. This will direct the fund from arbitrage to meaningful investment and the plant and equipment, jobs that are powered, that will power the real economy. Interest rates need to come down. Currently too high. Anti-people, anti-business. We have to work on all of those. To me, I know I've taken you through a winding time, a long time today. I will end this speech by assuring you that the mandate you have given me is not misplaced. The confidence is there. Hope is back for Nigeria. Just let us be united. Thank you. God bless Nigeria. God bless Federal Republic of Ghana.
Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests.
Let's get into this.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
FM.
All right, you're still on to the live studio of the inauguration of the president. We have a new president, a brand new one, Tier Leader. And we just listened to his inaugural speech. I'm joined by Barrister Ahmed Tanimu this afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to our live studio. Thank you so much for being here. And I also have Barrister Tony Idoko, two gentlemen who together will be analyzing a whole lot that has been said this afternoon. Good afternoon, Barrister Tony.
So good afternoon.
Thank you so much for coming. So let me just generally start by feeling your pulse about, today. Let me start with you, Tanimu. Tell me your feeling about, the whole proceeding so far, a new president coming in, the fifth democratically elected president since the Fourth Republic. Share your feelings with me, generally.
Ordinarily, a lot of Nigerians should be excited, should be happy. The saying in the common parlance that if you are in a fire and then you decide to jump to somewhere that there's no fire, is better. The situation could have been worse. What we've had in the past 8 years is hellish. So any semblance of anything that is different, even it could be the same hell, but if it's coming from a different wind, maybe Nigeria will be ready to take it. So if you look at it, generally speaking, from the contacts that I've made, a lot of people are just they are indifferent. Indifferent in the sense that we are watching, we are happy, we are coming, we are going out of something that has really traumatized a lot of Nigerians. But we don't know what we are getting in instead. Already the indications, I don't want to go too deep into our discussion, but the last comment the new president made mention is that subsidy is gone.
Subsidy is gone.
He said it before election, he said it during election, and now he has confirmed it. The worry is that these are the main issues that we are talking about. People are indifferent because we all know it is coming. We thought he could delay it a little so that we start adjusting to the realities, because we know definitely with the removal of subsidy, living condition, already people are grappling. If you walk around the city center, you go to the villages, people are struggling. Nigeria has been the poverty capital of the world. More than 150 million are living below the dimensional poverty level, in the sense that even those that you think they are doing fine, they are not. Even those in Abuja, those in Lagos, everybody is struggling.
Urban poverty.
You go down, people cannot afford to even use their basic amenities in their houses. A lot of people are scared, and the renewed hope, we want to ask, what is the brand? If on the first day, this is the dosage of it's not a shock, but it's something that we need to worry about. We are not saying they shouldn't remove the subsidy. We know it must go, but the reasons and the justification and the aftermath in terms of the consequences on the general
economy,
living condition is what we are afraid of.
Barrister Tony, tell me, share your thoughts with me.
Well, thank you very much, Swat. When someone says that everyone will be remembered for either the problems he caused or the ones, for either the problems he solved or the ones he created.
Yeah.
Buhari will be remembered for creating a lot of problems for Nigeria, a lot of pain. He didn't help this country at all. He, of course, empowered the people he wanted to. There are people who are far better off than they were in 2015.
Yeah.
But not Nigerians. But whether you are from the north or from the south or wherever, Nigerians have left this country in drove under his watch because the pain was too excruciating. They couldn't bear it. In fact, there were even some people who left, not because they were even suffering. I know people who had very good jobs who left. I know people who were big boys in CBN who left because for them it was insecurity. It was like, because we were at a point in our history You know, I think we almost got to the point where Jeff Kennedy said, if the poor cannot sleep because they are hungry, he said the rich also will not be able to sleep because the poor are weak. That's where we got to. So that anyone who has any little, if you enjoy some level of comfort, you become even a target. Even if you are hardworking and you are not part of the problem, you're not part of the people creating the problems. We're now in a country where people who are traveling don't use their cars anymore. They look for the smallest car to use because you don't want problem. So I think that is when I saw him hand over, I was very happy, and no matter our misgivings about the new president.
Okay, sorry I had to just cut you short. We have a quick commercial. We'll just do that in 1 minute and be right back.
Okay.
This is Nigeria Info.
I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. No more, no more. I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. Yeah, hey, pour me up some OJ, have it fresh squeezed, sizzle up some pico and some bay leaves. Make sure that it's on low. Let the top breathe, let the top breathe. Gotta let the top breathe. Crack another egg on it. Me and you could make the best omelet. Yeah, never seasoned, so it's our timing. You can smell the good vibes rising. I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. No more, no more. I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. It goes sweet like sugar, smooth like cream, warm like the steam rising on my caffeine. Cozy as a coop, had to get you in the loop. Cooking in the kitchen, all I really wanna do is crack another egg on it. Yeah, me and you can make the best omelet. Never seasoned, so it's our timing. You can smell the good vibes rising. I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. No more, no more. I keep my sunny side up so they can see me from above. I keep my sunny side up. No more running from the love. I keep my sunny side up. You keep your sunny side up. We keep our sunny side.
This is Nigeria Info.
New president. About how he marched and everything. I believe that there's going to be a real breath of fresh air. You understand? In the coming months, they understand the enormity of the issues. And I think that I personally believe that whoever took over from Buhari would be far better. And because it's like in a game of football, I think that it's like a penalty that has been set for the new president to shine. You understand? Because things are really bad. They are so bad. They are terrible. When you miss a penalty, people get very mad. People get very mad at you for missing a penalty. You understand? It gets to the point where the people are threatened, especially if it's a very crucial match. And you miss, I recall during the Europa match when those boys missed, the two black boys who missed penalty, and how they came at them with racist slurs and all of that. That's how angry people can be, because penalty is like, man, you don't have to miss it. And that's why when you miss it, you are embarrassed. You understand? And so I think it's a cheap goal to score, because nobody is with you, nobody is against you. You are just you and the player. Nobody's on you. Just play and score. That's all. So that is like what has happened in this situation. It's like a penalty set before. It's very cheap. It's very easy to make people happy now, because things are terrible. All you need to do is to see how you can reverse, some of the very terrible policies, And I wish him well, and I want him to have a good team. You understand? It's a team. If you get a team, if you get the right team, we don't want people who are angling and fighting to come in, Like there's this group, this one guy that is just irritating me with his jingle everywhere on television, singing a congratulations, that song on every channel.
No, but that is expected, right?
On every channel.
Nigerians are used to.
We don't want to, those are desperados. We don't want that. This is not the time to look at all that nonsense. We are all congratulating him. We don't have to go and put our names on TV and say we're congratulating you and be sending jingles to different channels, different places to say you're congratulating. We need to avoid those kind of people. This is not the time for recruiting those kind of people into. You can see that these are desperate people who just still think we are joking. They think that it's still business as usual. This is the time to look for the right people, no matter where they are. It doesn't matter the party. Things are bad, okay? Things are bad. And if I have to just flow from where my friends stopped about the fuel subsidy, the issue you brought up, that thing is really a heavy thing, and I believe that
do you think that's too much of a shocker for Nigerians at this time?
We're just happy and welcoming you and just dropped it.
Because you're talking about hitting the ground running, we don't have time and all of that. I think even Tenimu said so. So him coming on board with the fuel subsidy thing, boom. Yes. And Nigerians are pleading, get our refineries working first of all, so that we don't have to suffer the brunt of it. Now, already the economy is damaged. How much damage would this do, how much impact would this have on the economy?
There's going to be reaction immediately because we did that statement, okay? And you see, the fuel subsidy is the only thing that Nigerians enjoy. That's the only thing, the only benefit that comes to Nigerians easily, okay? And even then, as it is, it's even too expensive right now. It's even too expensive now, Now, what has changed? You don't just come and remove, before you remove the subsidy, you fix, there are some things you it's just like someone who is sitting on a seat and you want to remove, it's just like you want to sit and they just take the seat off,
yes, and then you hit the ground. Your bum on.
Yes, exactly. So that's not how it should be. You don't just go, what I expect him to say is, what? The subsidy, when he said the subsidy, when he talked about fuel subsidy, I expect him to say, what should happen right now is, as soon as you come in, set up a genuine committee to look into. First of all, there's a lot of fraud there. That's what's paining me is that Nigerians are suffering because of the fraud, and all of them it appears as if they are afraid of what's going on there. So you are pushing the thing to the whole suffering back to Nigerians. Are you afraid of going to probe what's happening there? The Controller General of Custom, he challenged them at the House, at the Senate, and said it's a lie. They charged the NNPC. That thing you claim that their consumers are consuming, it's a lie. How many cars do we have in Nigeria? Do you know that since this administration came in, we've had fewer cars come into the country? People don't buy cars like before again. People don't just service their cars because cars are expensive. Cars that you see before 5 million. Now you see they tell you about 9 million or 10 million. So what people do, they just try to manage and service their cars. So how many cars we have in the country? What's going on? How can you tell us that we are paying about 6 trillion, whatever trillion on so this is it not the same country under Yaradua we're paying about 400 billion. No, it wasn't up to a trillion. Okay. Just a few years down the line, and you're telling us we are consuming all these things. So the first thing is that any president who has a political will first of all do a genuine probe of that place. Let's get the real thing. You know, how much Nigerians are, how much we are actually consuming. And then when I talk, you say you are removing subsidy. I've always said it. There is no place in the world, okay, where people are paying so much for what they are producing, what God has given to them.
Do you agree with him?
I agree with him. But if you look at to the extent that I think the approach that the new president wants to adopt in fixing the problem of Nigeria, that is where he's going. He's taking the Nigerians are not being factored. The generality of Nigeria are not being factored into the approach that the new president is adopting. He knows that fuel subsidy payment has always been a big scam. When Buhari came in, we were all happy when he said he doesn't know what it means and is going to fight. It's only for him to turn out that his government even spent more and paid more for it. Everybody know how it's done. Ships are brought, cleared as if they are coming to the country. They are diverted to the neighboring countries and they are sold, and the money goes to private hands. Pockets. Already, those in the petroleum industries, as he's making his comment, I assure you by next week, by tomorrow, the cost of price.
Are you sure it's not even changing right now as it is?
I assure people,
my God.
At the moment they finish the celebration, they are going to say either there won't be fuel in the various filling stations and you can go back to buying in black market. And even those that will have it, will start selling it.
So we're expecting a crisis, fuel crisis.
Definitely there will be fuel
as a result, ripple effect of this.
That's what's going to happen immediately. That means
because the cost of living standard will be exponentially increased. You cannot, the things you buy, you know, the cost of everything, it has, they are all intertwined, they are interrelated. A businessman doing his business in Abuja, he's getting his supply from the east, from Maiduguri. He has to take those goods that he's bringing into Abuja using trailers, and those trailers, they run on diesel, they run on fuel. Already we know how expensive diesel is, so it's exactly what happened there that is coming to happen.
But is this really a shocker for us? Because we're expecting this. After all, the Buhari government tried to prepare our minds by saying by June, and this is end of May.
No, the shocker
so why
for us,
yes.
the shocker for me is that we know it's coming, but what we are not talking about this the fraudulent palliative that we've been used to. There's no amount of conditional transfer that you'll be giving the faceless poorest of the poor. Now you are now claiming that you want to digitalize it. If you know that your government can digitalize distribution of, why didn't you do it at the initial stage, which is a very simple. So we know that they are still targeting other ways to perpetuate fraud. So we will not. At this point, I don't think Nigeria will tolerate it. The president said, no matter the protest, it's not about, we are not protesting that we don't want fuel subsidy to be removed. The protest will be about the way and manner you go about implementing it.
Yes.
If you have not put in measures, alternate measures, they need to really investigate those that have actually benefited from the fuel subsidy scam. Those they've been arresting since Jonathan's regime. I don't think anybody has been convicted. Most of them have been released. Most of them, they have ongoing cases that we don't know when the case will ever end. Then the new actors that participate with NNPC should be thoroughly investigated. All the people that are responsible for the payment, for the everything that has to do with the fuel subsidy payment. Then we will know the quantum of, because in all honesty, we are not using the fuel and the petroleum products.
But do you see this new president like doing this as an aftermath? Okay, you've announced that subsidy is gone, and then following the fact that he said his action, his government is actually going to hit the ground running and all of that. Maybe we're going to say constitution of the committee to probe. Is this something that you think he has the political will to do? He has praised his Buhari as his friend and brother and give him all the kudos. So is this something, or is this something that will be swept under the carpet?
Well, for me, this is for me is not hitting the ground running. You don't hit the ground running with, you want to start with problem. NLC, I'm sure right now, because NLC has been warning, NLC has been against the removal of subsidy,
yes,
and they're still against it. You understand? You need to carry these people along. You need to call stakeholders. We need to be, because the truth is, we know that what's going on there is a big fraud. And is it that they're afraid of probing into that place? You can't say Nigerians cannot. There's nothing wrong with subsidy. Every country has subsidy areas that
they subsidize. Of course, subsidy. We know that.
In many countries, you offer subsidy even in energy, in the system energy. This is the level of Nigerians. You want to throw the country into chaos, okay? Especially when you say that no matter even if you protest, no, you don't start that way, okay? Because even when they were in opposition, they did protest, and government listened to them. Good President Jonathan removed subsidy and they protested. That protest was led by opposition, and President Jonathan listened, so you can't come and say no matter the protest, and you are just coming in, and you know how the government, the thing still is. People are still very bitter, they're still, so you are giving people something to hold on to, to start fighting you. You understand? So if you say no matter the opposition, no matter, okay, well, let's see how it goes. Let's say, but I think that,
like you rightly said, I'm sure there will be a ripple effect of this. There will be attendant consequences of this because you don't just come and
Nigerians are suffering.
Nigerians are suffering,
and they are happy to see the other person go,
and then you
and
come
they are happy that you are coming in, and you come in and you just it's just like a continuation of the suffering.
Sure,
you understand? If you take away this subsidy,
suffering pro max, because this is going to
just like Abubakar said, everything will go up now. I always said this. I said from here to Gwagwalada is 500 naira.
Yes.
Okay, at this 190, almost 200 that we're buying, is about 500. Now, by the time you take this subsidy to go to Gwagwalada and back will be almost 500. Almost maybe 1,500. Okay. You understand? And then if you imagine doing that every day, what will happen is that employers will sack people. They will not be able to bear it because we have to increase their salary.
Sure.
So they will be downsized. So it's too early.
I'm sure this is not what we expected.
And you know something? I've told you, see, governance is very easy. It's not hard. It's just common sense. I'm telling you. It's common sense. Number one, you want to remove subsidy. Okay? We don't have, our refineries are not working. So if you remove the subsidy, who will bear the brunt? Who will suffer? It's not those of you in government. A lot of them in government since 1999, they have not bought fuel. They don't know what it's like to sleep in darkness.
In a filling station.
You understand? They don't sleep. They've been in government since 1999. Some have been either in House of Assembly or Senate, or from House of Assembly they went to National Assembly. From House of Reps they went to Senate, and from there they became ministers. They've been in government. They've been enjoying, unlike the people. So the best way, I have always said, look, if you want to remove this subsidy, you use it. You have to do it instrumentally. Number one, what is the reason why we are buying fuel that we have? I've always said this. The last research I did, Nigeria was around either 11 or 14 oil-producing country among the oil-producing countries in the world. Nigeria is around number 14. And we have almost 100 countries that produce oil. And see where we are. And do you know, that the only country that has oil, enormous oil like Nigeria, and is importing, is only Nigeria. From all my research, only Nigeria is importing fuel. No any other country is importing fuel. But only Nigeria has oil and does not have refinery. Only Nigeria. We don't have any refinery that is functioning. Even this
only that Dangote
started.
It has not started.
It has not started, but then we're hopeful that it will start.
We don't have. You see, so imagine. Do you know that Texas has about 32 refineries? Only Texas. America has over 200 refineries. Over 200.
Definitely.
We have states.
Both private and...
Yes, we have about 30 states that have refineries. We have states like Louisiana with about 19 refineries. We have states like California that have about 18 refineries. So we don't have anyone that is deliberate. It's very, very, very deliberate. They allocate money for turnaround maintenance and not turning around anything. They're just turning around
and in billions
pockets.
Of naira we're talking about.
Dollars.
And in dollars, exactly.
They're just turning around their pockets. So you see, it's quite deliberate. If you want those things to work, they work. And if they start working, we shouldn't be buying fuel at this price. We shouldn't be buying fuel. In fact, if we had enough refineries, even the four, if they are working well with Dangote, and then if you have more people who are even building refineries, fuel should be selling like around max, let's say 100 naira. Max, because now we're no longer importing.
Yes.
We are imagine we are taking from our own ground, and then we transport them from the wherever they got the crude from, wherever they excavated them, we take them from there and ship them to the port. We take them to the port, and then from the port we will ship them maybe to Singapore or wherever, and then they will now extract the oil, they will refine it, and then ship it back to Nigeria. All that at a cost. But if we have these things working, thank God they have discovered oil in Gombe. I think another one is coming up in Nasarawa. Yeah. I'm sure there are still many states. I'm sure Benue even has oil. If let us just set up refineries in all these places. So it should be gradual process. And then if there's oil in Gombe, if we have not found oil in Gombe and there's a refinery around that area, why should someone in Bauchi be having problem with buying fuel at maybe 200 or 300? No. You just take it, you refine it there. People in Gombe and that access should not be buying fuel at this exorbitant price. So all these things is just, let me tell you, the more money they make, the more, unless something, because from what we are saying, it is not that they want to use the money to do some other thing. How are we sure that is what they're going to still? But are we going to be looting in the states?
Do you see any sense or any determination? I mean, I know that no body language or nothing, but what do you think this government would do in terms of the corruption, attendant corrupt practices very prevalent within the oil and gas sector? I mean, as he's trying to enumerate the lack of refineries, the oil theft, and just everything wrong with that sector.
For me, ordinarily, my own thinking was that I thought, based on the support and the understanding that the new president received from average Nigerians, that they felt that they are coming from the worst, it cannot be that better in the way Trump will say, have you not seen the worst? So if we have seen the worst and we are looking for a change, I thought the new president will start by either admitting to some of the wrongs that we all know is the one thing, in terms of accusation of being corrupt, and if I'm going to clean myself, I'm going to clean the entire country. Yar'Adua did it. It's not something impossible or un-Nigerian. Yar'Adua, in fact, admitted the fact that the process that brought him had flaws and he is going to take steps. From that statement that he made, you can see a lot of hope, a lot of encouragement, and the body language was right. He started with the bank. We all know Keystone Bank used to be a family. The Yar'Adua had family interest in it, but he gave Lamido Sanusi the go ahead. If the essence for you want to clean the banking sector,
go ahead.
If it's my family business that is having issue, clean it up. And he did it. He did it in its area of electoral reform. Yeah. So you see, he did not come and start. In fact, those assets of the government that were sold to private individuals in a very corrupt manner, he reversed most of those transactions. And to this moment of late, Yar'Adua happens to be one of the most beloved Nigerian president that actually had a lot of honesty, a lot of integrity, and it reflected in the kind of administration that we have. But if you are going to the problem and you are not even trying to solve the problem, you want to exacerbate the problem, you want to compound it. That's what the Buhari administration succeeded in doing. If you are in the area where maybe 100 people are being killed, he took us to a point where more than 500 people were being killed. If you are in the area where you are managing to survive, he took you to the point where you cannot even survive at all. Yeah. So is it that the new president want to take that line by exacerbating the problem rather than creating the solutions? When you create the solution, you don't need to even to announce that you have taken any measure. People will see. Exactly. It's a matter of policy, deliberate policy. If you are saying that government cannot run businesses, then make it a compulsory duty for every state that produce oil, that have oil deposits to have refineries and make it a private public partnership, so that you will now see where the private individual will allow corruption to thrive. So there are actions that you need to take. When you take those actions, it reflects the personality, what you seek to achieve. Not this is a kind of a threat to the people, because a lot of people already, from the fact that you are mentioning it as one of your key objectives, announcing it on your first day in office, it will send a wrong signal to people.
All right, let's get some feedback from people before we proceed and look at some key points on, that was contained in the inaugural speech of the new president. Philip from Livecam said, we don't need to fear or fight. He has come to continue where Buhari has stopped. No more fuel subsidy and all things go high and suffering begins again. What we are running from. For this is what we want. Let's enjoy it. Philip from Livecam says. Then we take on this one. Alex Minga from Kubwa said, good afternoon, Swat, and your war research analyst in the studio. With the new president's total withdrawal on subsidy, what will likely be the new pump price of PMS, DPK, and AGO? And with the usual marketers stroke cabals, will they allow it to thrive? Don't you see the crisis in the making? Swat, the ripple effect will not be funny. Nigerians will be in for it again after the departure of Baba Megaskia. Thank you. Alex Minga said so. Bella Shanovic from Maitama, I see your message here. You said, concerning the fuel subsidy removal, PMS is refined at 0.25. That's zero. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get that out now. PMS is refined at 25. I don't know, that's 25 pence per liter. PMS is sold in USA at 55 pence. Naira to the dollar, that's black market, is $1 to 760 naira. Do the math and you get the subsidy scam. Decrease the black market and subsidy will disappear. That's what he said. Okay, this one said, sorry to ask, the talk of these refineries here and there, I thought the book markers foresaw the end of oil boom era. Why the back and forth on this PMS? Do you know how many people don't use DPK? Even the LPG is over burdensome. Chisara David said so. Let's take on this one and take one or two calls. Then we'll look at other issues. Congratulations to you and other Nigerians for surviving the Buhari regime. Once again, a big congratulations to us all, the survivors. Kamata said, as for the newly sworn president, I wish him good health and the fear of God. This one said, good afternoon, Swat, and our able guests, please go live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. You can go check that out, and also on Facebook. Please check that out, and you'll definitely get to see us. All right, yeah, we continue from there. Let's just take on this call. Hello.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. My name is Abdul calling from Jadi.
Okay.
In respect of this new administration that's swearing in today, we hope and pray that the people is going to appoint, let them be his own advisors. When there is wrong things going on, to point it and face the reality. Them calling or finger pointing on the previous government and the present government will not take us to anywhere. The most democracy is better than military dictatorship. In a democratic dispensation, you have a freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of many things. We hope the media will be concentrated and able to be broadcasting the wrongdoings of politicians, so that the leaders, when they heard it from them, they can able to correct their own wrongdoing. In the first instance, as you open your studio, we've been discussing about the Aberos and how Abuja turned. We hope it's going to appoint a minister that will concentrate without the intervention of Mr. President to make Abuja clean,
all right,
make Abuja secure. That is the responsibility of minister. It's not the responsibility.
All right. Thank you, Abdul.
Whoever. Keep doing what you are doing and doing it very well.
Thank you very much. Appreciate. Let's take on this caller, then we'll come back to the other issues. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Swat.
You're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, my name is Joaquin.
Okay.
Yes. I think I will be very disappointed in the new president if he refused to remove the subsidy. He said it during the campaign openly that either you vote for me, you don't vote for me. If I am elected, I am going to remove subsidy. So therefore, he must remove subsidy. In any case, all Nigerians have agreed that subsidy is the cap. So let's remove subsidy and let's see what will happen. Than for few Nigerians to be benefiting from subsidy where others are suffering. So the thing may go up initially, but definitely transportation costs will come down. Let the subsidy remove. Nigerians have agreed on that. Good afternoon. God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, you heard him. He said it will go up at first and then it will definitely come down. What's the assurance of that?
Ordinarily, that in a climate when everything is working well, not in our climate. Our climate is rife with abuses. So if we can take care of those abuses, the reason why we are even complaining that the subsidy scam, I told you the way they do the scam. The government will provide so-called subsidy on petroleum products meant for Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Some individuals, you have more than 10 government agencies, NMPA, Customs, NIMASA, there are more than 10. Mm-hmm. Nigerian Navy, they will all sign that petroleum products came into the country, and those same products will just find its way to the tin air, and the government will keep preparing for it. Nigerians are not benefiting from it. Why are we not focusing on the individuals at the seaports that are allowing the fraud to happen in that place? Why are we not focusing on the various ministries, those making all the payments? The same ship can be, they will bring a single ship and they will make payment not once, not. We all know how this scam operates. I was thinking the new president will not want to rely on the National Assembly, the police, the regular conventional investigative body, because we call it they've been rift with corruption. You write a petition to EFCC, they will not do anything about it. People are paying money to get their petition being investigated for different various security agencies. Most of our security agencies, they are just transactional, whereby they look at what they stand to benefit before they will. So now, if you are serious about the issue that we are talking about, the president can start by appointing, the way we have in other climes, you can appoint a general counsel, you can appoint somebody that you know. In Nigeria, there are still patriotic Nigerians that you can pinpoint and say this set of people will not have anything to be, any reason to be corrupt. They are ready to make that sacrifice. Those are the people that you need to appoint to start some of these investigations, and you start with reforming those avenues that allows for the abuses. So if you remove subsidy without checking corruption, without removing those abuses, then what we are having in the guise of sales, because it means now they are being regulated. Yeah. For those of us in Abuja around, you can get fuel at the regular price. If you now have a situation where there is no subsidy and there are a lot of abuses, it means we will continue to buy black markets on a regular basis, and that is where the issue. And as you see, it has a ripple effect. People are going to be sacked. Businesses will close up. The cost of those generating power they rely on. So everything will go. Then you cannot tell people that the best civil democratic government is based on the. You need to survive first before you can
survival comes first. I don't know if you put that into consideration.
Government or civilian government. So if they do not want Nigerians to survive, then it will be difficult for even them to be able to govern.
I think maybe in trying to analyze this thing, sometimes Nigerians become really very political. You ignore realities on ground and just want to sound very political about these things. But like you rightly said, survival is key.
Yes. Yeah.
How do Nigerians move?
Like the last caller is, I think he's just exaggerating. So Nigerians have agreed. I don't know where he got that community of agreement by Nigerians from. The Nigerians have agreed. I am a Nigerian and I said no. Abubakar is a Nigerian here. He's also here and he says no. NLC have said no to it even before I've reminded all of them who have been saying that they're going to remove a subsidy. I reminded them that they're going to resist it. Okay, because they also have intelligent people. They know the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, they understand the problem. Like Nigeria is the number one in oil production in Africa, but Nigeria has no refinery. Egypt has about 7 or so. So South Africa has about 4 or 5. Small countries, they have refineries that some maybe have 2, but they're functioning. We none of our own is working. Okay, and so like you said, you don't just come. You see, when the rain starts falling, it will fall on everyone.
Exactly.
So when people are talking, they talk like they have some kind of buffer somewhere. When the thing comes, they are going to let them remove it. Let me tell you something. If they remove it, if they don't remove it, and they want to leave it the way it is now, you say only some people are benefiting. Yes, they're the ones who are benefiting right now. If they remove it, they are still the ones that will benefit.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, if they remove that oil subsidy, they are still the ones that will benefit. Because what it now means is that that subsidy that government pays for you and I, government no longer pays. Remember that the government, we are still importing. So the people who are importing are still importing. Okay? And then when the money comes in, when they come in, they are now selling the way they want. In any case, if government is not paying, you will now pay. So they are still getting their money. Nothing changes.
To Nigeria.
Nothing changes. And if you think that, once they remove subsidy, fuel queues will finish, it's a lie. Sure, we're in this country. One day they will still come and tell you story.
I remember the times that they said they remove your subsidy. Yes, diesel.
In fact, a lot of businesses have crumbled
because of that.
You understand?
Power and nothing seems not to be even coming down. I don't understand what's happening.
As they were coming, something happened to the ship got the engine spoiled away. So there will always be one challenge
or the other
that will still, and then you know what, we are subject to the vagaries of the international market.
Sure.
They'll tell you that, this has gone up. It will never, when it will come down. Who told you? When it comes to energy, it's not like telecoms. When it comes to this energy, it's almost as if our life depends on it.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's not only for cars.
It's not
you need it to power business.
Everything.
You need it to power everywhere.
To move goods and services.
Exactly.
Food security.
Everything. And once you take it, and that's where I agree with you when you talk about survival. The moment you take it out and things go up, what will the first thing that happen? Landlords will increase
exactly everything. There's a ripple.
Their rents.
Absolutely.
Market things will go up. So it's too early. And we're not saying don't take away subsidy. That's not what we're saying.
Exactly.
In other countries where they don't have subsidy, it's because they're not importing.
Sure.
They don't depend on importation of fuel. They are producing fuel and they have enough. And you know what? They pay well. Okay, why our people jackpine? Why are they jackpine? They jackpine to places where. So a guy in my office told me when he left for UK, he called me and said to me, he said, Oga, he said, when I was in Nigeria, my rent was 500,000. He said I could not pay. He said I used to struggle to pay rent of 600,000. So I used to struggle to pay rent 2-bedroom, 600,000. He said right now, as I talk to you, 600,000 is my rent in
every
a month.
Month. Yes, exactly.
That is my rent in a month.
And he pays it without seamlessly.
He pays it. His wife left the bank. They went. His wife is working. He's working. He told me, he said when they put all their income together, it's close to almost 4 million naira. They put everything. Then he says they take about that, maybe 600 or something, and then they pay for rent. They do this, they do. So when they were just telling, so you can see, but there's no subsidy. They're not doing subsidy there.
Sure.
You understand? Okay. But because they have fixed everything. So as the money comes in, as government says it's going to increase wages for workers,
5%,
it's allowance. It's not even salary. I think it's allowance or something.
They're not paying school fees. They're not paying school fees in the schools in the schools abroad.
Yes, sure.
They're not paying school fees. That's why people are happy. They go, you put your children in school. Matter of fact, as you put your children in school, they are even paying you for
sure.
in places in Canada they give you $1 per child. because they don't feed the children. In America, I think they feed them, so they don't pay, but they feed the children. But in Canada, if you have 3 children, they give you $3,000 every month because they're not feeding you. They give you the money to feed them. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're telling me about, you don't compare, don't tell me that in America or in Canada.
I think that's where you came in with that statement rightly. So you said if it was in the same climb, because even in the same climb, if this sort of thing happens, I mean, we're not going to worry because we know that things work out.
Sure.
We've seen a whole lot of abnormalities. So what's the guarantee that this is going to seamlessly flow into a system that it will be beneficial to Nigerians?
If you remember one of the many lies of the previous government, they told us that anytime that there's reduction in the global market, it will reflect.
It's going to reflect,
and they will just come with maybe a 1 naira, 2 naira reflection, and at times, man, they will not even remember to.
I mean, you remember when oil was at an all-time
high?
Yeah, somehow we're supposed to bet, but somehow we did not. We did not,
at the moment,
because of the
even
corruption.
With the war going on in Ukraine, if we had a functional refinery, the Dangote refinery, it was meant to commence work in 2019 in 2023. The facade, if you go around, I'm a lawyer, I'm telling you on air, National Industrial Court here in area, is it area 10 or area 3, the one that the new complex, yes.
The new one is area,
it was not completed when it was commissioned.
Yes.
So the past government is and we pray that they will not continue with the train whereby they commission uncompleted projects. So many of them, so many.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want a situation whereby the Dangote refinery, if we know the government have a stake in it, if they are removing soil subsidy, let there be availability. When you create the ripe environment, you don't need any force, you don't need any additional steps. But if you have not created the right environment, number one, there's no availability. Number two, you have not taken care of the issue of addressing corruption and abuse. What are the consequences? If people do things and they know that there's no consequences, there's no amount of beauty of your policy you are bringing. If there's corruption, it will make a complete mockery of everything.
If there is corruption, if you remove it,
somebody else will
if you don't remove it. So what we need is just sincerity.
Let's take on some more comments, from callers and everything, and then we'll move on to other very important issues. Unity for me, has been one key issue, as we've seen Nigerians at the highest or at the peak of division or disunity. Now, the president has said very key things as it relates to unity and, some sense of reconciliation. But let's start and take one or two comments on this subsidy issue and then move on to that. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Your network is not clear. Please call us back. Hello. Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
You're welcome.
This is Chinadi from Guaranda.
All right, tell us your thoughts.
They have spoken well. The problem we have in this country is that we don't tell our leaders the truth. Look at the young men there telling you the truth. The people that know more than us. Some of us are calling and say they should remove it. I want to thank that very man that said, it's only Nigeria that produce crude oil and they can't refine. And we don't ask them questions. Those people that are saying that they want to remove subsidy. Why is it that our refineries is not working? All the 100 countries that is producing crude oil is only Nigeria. What is that problem? President Buhari banned the potential of rice and these things. Why is it that we cannot ban the potential of oil, refined oil? So if we remove subsidy without production, they are saying that the big men are those ones that they are importing it, they will not lose.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Tell us your name.
Okay, yeah, this is Cash Flow from City Avenue. I greet your colleagues in the studio.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Stuart. Now, a president who is to be sworn into office in his inaugural speech is making such a sensitive statement as, a subsidy has ended and no one should protest about it. For me, such statement portrays a and portrays an attitude of dictatorship. Because if you remember at the early part of his speech, I was jotting down some key things he was talking about. Now he contradicts this line he read out, that we shall represent and not rule over the people. We shall dialogue and not dictate over the people. Now, for him to make such a statement, 6 volumes, and we should not turn a blind eye. The other guest he brought, that he has to be sensitive to the mood, such, important points. He has to be sensitive to the mood of the people, that you do not discard the view, which he said that we shall not discard the view that is contrary to.
Okay, you need to start round up.
Yes, which means, yes, he must listen to people. So, honestly, I hope this will not be an extended episode of despondency, hopelessness, and, disappointment.
All right.
Honestly,
thank you so much.
Yes.
I appreciate that contribution. We'll take a WhatsApp call. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon, Swat.
Good afternoon to you. Tell us your name.
Yes, my name is Justice of Peace. Anti-Swat, you see, the president inaugural speech, he mostly used the word hope. But for me, I see no hope. Just as we said, if you say you want to give us hope, and you say subsidy is gone and gone, now, with what I had from reliable source, fuel is automatically going to go to 700 naira to 7 something. Where then is the hope? Where at 200 naira, we struggle to survive. And it's going to 700. You have the power to remove it as a president. But how are you now going to use your power to make things easier for common man? So there is no hope. Anybody thinking of hope in this new administration, the person should just wait till Wednesday. When he wake up and go to buy fuel or to enter transportation or to buy food stuff, he will know whether there is indeed hope or there is indeed no hope. But with his speech and the action of removing subsidy immediately now, in fact, it's not even notified. Just by Wednesday, we'll begin to see the effect of it.
All right.
Telling on Nigeria. Because nobody buy for 700 and survive it.
All right. Thank you so much, Justice of Peace, for your contribution. Let's read this message here, or the messages that we have that have come in. This one is a message from, let's see if we have a name to this. Okay, sorry. Emeka from NNPC Tower said, good morning. Okay, no, this is not for me, not now. Let's see. Good morning, SWAT. It's afternoon, actually. He said, Kunle from Ushafa said, when did he say specifically that no one should protest about it? Please, I also listened to the speech. I never heard that part. This one comes in from Deacon Emmanuel Okudili Ede. He said, good afternoon, Swat. The removal of fuel subsidy is good, but not now. I was thinking he would have strived to repair the 4 refineries when they have started working to a full capacity. Then fuel subsidy can be removed and more new refineries built so as to avoid unnecessary hardship to the citizenry. That's what the Deacon says this afternoon. Good afternoon, Nigeria Info. God bless the new president to succeed. We should allow him to implement his program. First, subsidy should go. We cannot continue to lament as country. Since we agreed subsidy is scam, there is no point allowing it to continue. We're fond of complaining as a people. God bless Nigeria. Tunde from Chika sends that in. Good afternoon. I must acknowledge the fact that the presidential speech wasn't dry at all. Also, I am quite impressed that the days of word-to-word speech reading has flown back to Dara, and the days of oratory has returned back to the most prestigious office in the African continent. More also, I'm very relieved to see the end of the last administration. It's been an earthquake lasting 8 years. I fear for the removal of fuel subsidy, but I hope he doesn't he's done the math enough to see that it won't affect the cost of living. However, this doesn't make what happened during our presidential election forgettable nor forgivable. We can never forget the election hijacked nor the NSAS saga and the role the president played in both cases. Well, our hope looks up to God, for in Christ alone is our hope is found. Says Sunday from Apo. Geronimo from Dusa Alaji said, my take is on the way the ex-president appeared eager to leave. If you have an eye for tacit communication, you read an unmistakable meaning to that. As for me, I don't think that's good. It tells about a painstaking dilemma left behind for the current president. As for the current president, with regards to the subsidy removal on energy, that statement will scare the price of fuel to a high rate. He was supposed to tell us about the shock absorber he's willing to put in place, and okay, I don't know what that word is, but I'll leave the message. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Congratulations to the new president. My expectation from his administration is good governance, so therefore it's time to work. Our honeymoon is over. Oludade Abiodun said so. Let's come back to the issue. I was saying, the issue of unity is something that is very, very important in our lives as Nigerians. Now, the president has said something when he was reading his speech, thanking first of all his supporters. He said to his supporters, he's thankful, and to those who didn't even vote him, he said thank you. And he said his hands are outstretched. There will be no political coloration, which he said has faded, and he see all as Nigerians. And for me, that was a very profound statement, saying that, well, I hold no grudges to people who voted me and those who did not vote for me. I'll embrace everybody, and we're going to have a sort of inclusive kind of governance. What does that speak to the mind of the average Nigerian? Let me start with you, Tanimo.
One of the guests made mention of where he talked about protests. Yes, he made comment about protests during the campaign. He said no amount of protest will deter him from removing subsidy, and he ended by saying, and he knows he's going to win the election.
That was in the course of the campaign.
Course of the campaign.
Okay.
Nobody is saying that subsidy should not be removed. We are emphasizing, take necessary steps, put all the necessary measures. Don't put the horse before the cart. Do what you are supposed to have done. When you are done with it, all Nigerians will support you to remove subsidy. Number one being fighting corruption and abuses. If you have not done anything about that and you are now taking the low-hanging fruit, it means you are not even ready, you are not even prepared. A lot of us will be shocked because we had a lot of belief in him. We thought he would do something different. But from what he's doing, even Buhari at his initial stage, he was not this hard. The hope, there was a kind of sense of hope. So, and over time, because of the experience that we've had, most of the words coming out from the mouths of our leaders, our political office holders, because I feel a lot of them are not even, there is not proper to refer to them as leaders. Most of them are rulers, most of them are politicians. They are yet to attain the status of being leaders, because when you say things and you do the exact opposite of what you have said, then you are telling your citizenry that they shouldn't believe in what you are saying. And that has been our experience in the last 8 years. So now you are now coming with high-sounding words, and you think Nigerians will believe. They are just watching. Nobody takes any of those statements.
So you think that doesn't do anything to the psyche of the average Nigerian?
It doesn't. It will only translate in positive action by the time people are seeing it. Nigerians have been lied to the extent that they don't want any promises, they don't want any grandstanding statement. They want to see your actions. Your actions should be able to speak.
But Tanimu, let me just stop you there and take your mind back to the Buhari administration, when you was at the Chatham House and said that 97.5% thing. That was the genesis of it. People, began to ask questions. What exactly does it mean to say 97.5% and all of that? And I think that was the genesis of, people making claims to nepotism, cronyism, and a whole lot of religious and ethnic, the promotion of all of those negativities within the government of the last administration. But I mean, for him to make this sort of statement, don't you think that's a diversion and in the right?
Yes, I think, as I said, people don't believe what you say. They want to see what the action, tangible action. If you take them apart, personality-wise, they are completely two separate individuals. Nobody can accuse Tinubu of being nepotistic or being being a bigot, because from his household you can see that it's an open house. You cannot. I don't think any Christian will say he fears that he will be victimized, but he might take certain steps that you might want to go that line. You will not say such of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Is within him, and it's just a reflection of that in street. I want to say, is it hatred, or I don't know how to, because you cannot treat your fellow citizens, and you now reflect. Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, and so there are things that we believe. The new president doesn't need to say it. Let him demonstrate it. Let him show. People have been hurt. Let's see how you want to take care of their pains. Yeah. But if you are now saying a good thing in one leg, and in another leg you are sending shock and fear to your fellow citizens, then
you think it's a contrast?
It's in contrast, deep contrast, and now people will not believe. People are not. I can tell you this. You can ask anyone. Nobody believes what most of our leaders are saying, because, as I said, they do the exact opposite of what so if he's talking about unity, people will now be thinking, okay, is it that he's going to create disunity? If he cannot handle the fuel subsidy removal, he will create disunity and a lot of rancor.
Well, thank you.
With regards to unity, how hopeful and optimistic are you?
Yes, let me just make an addendum to what he. Maybe that will be my last statement on this fuel thing. What I want to say about the fuel something is, you don't need to announce that you're going to remove fuel subsidy. Just do what is right. Fuel will just the subsidy will fizz on its own. If our 4 refineries are working, Dangote is working, you understand? And if it can meet our local consumption, you understand?
Yeah.
We will not be importing. It will not be.
You are not paying for it.
Again.
You will not take our money and pay for it.
Using here.
You are already doing it.
If we're not importing,
you are generating income.
You are generating income, and then we now have it. So you just find out that instead of the 197 or 190 something we are buying now, down. It will just come down because we're no longer importing. So you're not telling about landing costs. You're not landing anything. You just take it from there, from maybe Port Harcourt straight to Abuja, and then if you are in Gombe, the price will come down naturally. So we support the new government. We don't want to continue suffering. We want this government to succeed. I liked everything that he was saying until he came to that subsidy, when he said subsidy has ended or something like that. No, that's the only part ended.
It's gone.
Because it's our president, we should talk to him, tell him how we feel. Because we want him to succeed.
Yes, we are not happy about that
because
statement.
if he starts like that, people have shown you love. You need to reciprocate. If you come like this, recall President Jonathan when he removed that fuel subsidy. You know how people showed him love everywhere, fresh air and all of that, and then people voted for him, and he came, and then 1st January 2011, was it 11?
Yes.
Also,
he just removed it.
You saw the reaction.
And we are prepared. A lot of Nigerians are prepared.
So if you remove them, people just say, you know what? Let them just die. Just kill us.
Already they are suffering.
We
are not living.
You know.
I mean, with the high rate of inflation as it is already.
Is it not this Buhari? It is same Buhari before he left and said they want to collect 800 million to be giving people 5,000. So imagine you now remove subsidy and you are giving somebody 5,000.
What does that amount
what will 5,000 buy?
It doesn't make sense.
Tell me.
And you know, you even want to think that inflation is an urban thing. Go to the rural areas and see. I mean, you'll be shocked.
So it is like even the 5,000 that you gave to the person, you are collecting it back with you want the person to go and look for more to even bring. Anyway, having said that, let me tell you what I think about the unity question, whether he can unite this country. I think he has enough capacity. He has demonstrated it. I think it was John Maxwell who says, how did they put it now? He said people don't care what you say. What you say. They want to. I've forgotten now. I want to remember. So what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to accommodating other Nigerians, the man has a large heart. He has demonstrated it even as governor in Lagos.
Yeah.
Okay. We saw how his chief of staff was Lai Mohammed from Kwara State. His commissioner for information and strategy was Dele Alake from Ekiti State. His commissioner for works was Sadiq Beshola from Osun State. I think almost all the states he had people.
Almost.
His attorney general was Oshimbajo from Ogun State. And then his commissioner for economic and something planning was Akabweze from Anambra State.
Yeah, sure.
You understand? And he also had somebody like Joe Igbokwe, no matter how loud-mouthed and how you don't like him, but he worked with him. And you can see how Joe Igbokwe can die because of that man.
Yeah.
You understand? And up to today, Joe Igbokwe is still in government.
Of course.
So he's that kind of person. His son, I heard that his son's wife is from Anambra State.
Sure.
You understand? So his wife is from Delta State. You understand? So I think he has demonstrated that. He has really done that. And he also has, unlike Buhari, I think he has a heart to accommodate pain and betrayal. I noticed that many of the people that betrayed him, they still came back and he accepted them. You understand? One of his best and closest ally when he was governor was Obanikoro. You understand? You saw how the PDP used Obanikoro against him. He turned against him and everything. But at last Obanikoro still came. Whether they mended their fences. Yeah. There was also even so many of these people. I don't want to mention names today. So many people you see following him now. Yeah. Many of them, some of them betrayed him
one way or the other, but they came back and opened his doors.
Some of them had betrayed him in the past. They stabbed him in the back. But they all still came back. Yeah. You understand? And he still accommodated them. So, and I think even with Obanikoro, he even made his son, he helped his son to become a member of the House of Reps. And so I think he has a large heart. He has a large heart. And I think he is easily forgiving also. He can easily forgive people who do that kind of thing. So I think he can unite when it comes to unity of the country. Yeah. It will not matter. What I'm saying, even those who did not, I'm sure he knows he was looking at a particular direction in the country, and it was understandable. Let's not hide it. The Southeast did not vote for him because they had a son.
Exactly, that's what I was going to come to. I want to come to that very dicey issue.
Because they had their son, who was a very popular candidate also in the election. Matter of fact, the reason why you have to concede it to them is because they have never come out to vote for any of their own the way they voted for the Labour Party candidate because they've never really had a good candidate. You understand? So for me, I see them like they're not bandwagon. They're not saying let's just go because it's our son. No, when their other sons came who were not competent and were not worthy, they didn't support them. They just allowed them. They will still vote for maybe Yaradua, or they will vote for Obasanjo, or they will vote for a good Lord. Don't vote for their own. But for the first time when Obi came out, and Obi was not just a candidate of the Southeast, was a candidate that Nigerians embraced from everywhere. So they went for him. However, I know that Tinubu will not say, oh, because they didn't vote for me. He's not that type of person.
Let me take it up from there. The dicey issue of this unity, mostly, when you get to look at it, is what many people say the injustice towards the South is. When Buhari came in, we knew, or many people said that reference was the fact that, the Southeast was the 5% he was talking about. And we saw how, the South, they were so marginalized. Now, in like, Barrister Tony is saying, in the voting pattern, we saw how the South is, for the first time, unanimously gave their vote to Peter Obi. Sure. It was a deviation from the norm that the Southeast don't support theirs. But for the first time, we saw Southeast come out to give over 90-something% for Peter Obi, and Tinubu was sidelined. Now he's in government. Now, let's talk about, before I ask my question, let's look at the trend of the Senate presidency. A lot of people said, well, it's turned for the Southeast and all of that. But we have rumors, or, it's glaring that the person that has been endorsed is Akpabio and, his deputy and all of that. Now, what is the stake of the Southeast in this government? Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention, a whole lot of issues, and the Senate president might not necessarily go there except a last-minute thing happens. What is the stake of the Southeast?
The truth of the matter is that when you look at political permutations, it's a form of reward system, and Tinubu is a strategist in that area. Yes. He will definitely get it right and get it well. But you see, is about reorientation. You cannot, it's like you say bad behavior. There's no point rewarding bad behavior. You can correct in a soft and a gentle way so that the person will now realize the mistake. The 95%, 5% thing, they will still see a reflection of same when they look at it from political reward system. Those that have participated actively, those that have worked for the government. And Akpabio, if you may recall, he was the first person that stepped down for Tinubu during the primaries of
Okay,
APC.
sorry, let's quickly take this.
Cornflakes are made by a...
This is